Before we dive into the truly complicated horror of Count Strahd today, I have to tell you a story about a game that went spectacularly wrong, but started with a tiny, ridiculous item.
Oh, please tell me this is a low-level disaster. Those are always the most profound and memorable moments in D&D where the smallest thing derails a massive plot.
Oh, absolutely low level and profoundly stupid. We were playing a classic adventure in a small coastal town, which is actually very fitting given the location we're looking at today, and my half-elf wizard found a locket, just a cheap, tarnished brass thing. The dungeon master, with perfect dramatic flair, described it as smelling faintly of old fish and, quote, existential dread mixed with bad decisions.
Classic sign. You obviously had to attune to it immediately, regardless of the smell.
Of course. I mean, it was glowing faintly, and the description stated it gave me a permanent +1 to intimidation checks against domesticated birds. Completely and utterly useless, right?
Hilariously useless. Okay.
But the curse, as always, was subtle. Every time I made a successful check against anything, a bandit, an angry shopkeeper, a grumpy troll, I had to permanently mark that person's name in the locket with a tiny quill.
Oh, no.
And the higher the roll, the more loudly the locket would whisper, or eventually scream their name later, usually when I was trying to sleep.
Oh, that is magnificent. A cursed, gossiping, permanent record that weaponizes paranoia. It sounds like a demonic social security register.
Exactly. So fast forward 2 sessions. We're on a vital mission trying to sneak into the king's banquet hall, which required an elaborate infiltration. I successfully intimidate the head chef, a very stern, very large man named Rollo.
Rollo. Got it.
I scratch his name into the locket. We finally get settled, hiding out in a broom closet under a huge ornate staircase, waiting for midnight, and suddenly the locket just starts absolutely wailing.
Not whispering loudly, full-on screaming.
Full volume, tiny, metal-on-metal screeching, echoing under the stairs. "Roo, Roo, you've been foiled!" It was impossible to ignore.
And you were right next to the high-security kitchen.
We were maybe 10 feet away from Rollo the chef, who was precisely slicing a very expensive roast. We were discovered immediately, and the ensuing battle involved us accidentally starting a grease fire in the kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
We almost suffered a total party kill over an evil, gossiping bird talisman. That, for me, is the true essence of D&D horror. The perfect combination of creeping dread and absolute, unavoidable absurdity.
That is exactly the kind of deeply personal, inescapable dread that actually sets us up perfectly for our topic today, because the horror of this particular module is entirely self-inflicted and inescapable. It's brilliant in that way.
It is. Welcome, everyone, to the second part of our look at Ravenloft here on DND World Weavers. Before we jump into the module itself, we just want to acknowledge something briefly.
Yeah.
We know things are getting a little scary out there in the real world right now. We're still kind of processing the events of the past week, and it is something we want to address thoroughly. But when we do, we want to have our thoughts together instead of adding to the chaos. So for right now, we're going to continue with our exploration of the original Ravenloft modules as planned.
And we're going to do that by plunging into the next chapter in Strahd's story, the 1986 publication, Ravenloft 2, The House on Gryphon Hill, TSR Module I10. This is where the story of Count Strahd von Zarovich stops being, just a gothic tragedy and starts being a philosophical meltdown.
Yeah, it really goes off the rails in the best way. Our mission today, for you, the listener, looking to maybe harvest the best plot hooks or game mechanics, is to thoroughly explore this absolute classic. This isn't a simple sequel. It's a radical rethinking of the entire Ravenloft concept.
Totally.
It's an adventure of romance, dark mystery, and intense psychological paranoia aimed at 8th to 10th level characters. It kind of ditches the linear high gothic dread of Castle Ravenloft for something far more complex, investigative, and deeply psychological.
Right. The historical context here is absolutely crucial for understanding the genius of I10. It is a direct follow-up to I6 Ravenloft, but the structure is flipped completely on its head. I6 was a tight, haunted castle dungeon crawl with a clear objective: find Tatiana's reincarnation, defeat Strahd.
The classic.
Yeah. But I10 is a sandbox mystery set in this small coastal town. Feels less like D&D sometimes and more like a classic Victorian horror novel where the mystery itself is the primary weapon,
And the designers gave DMs a tremendous gift, didn't they? By making the adventures connectable. The module offers this special trick or treat. You can run the house on Gryphon Hill completely standalone, set in the seaside hamlet of Mordentshire on the Sea.
Right.
But if you have the original module, they suggest linking them via a mystical bridge, turning the whole campaign into something called the Dreams of Barovia.
That concept, the Dreams of Barovia, is fantastic because it weaponizes the character's vulnerability. The text says the players are bouncing back and forth between Barovia and Mordentshire due to a raging, debilitating fever. Yeah. They never truly know which world is real and which is the fevered dream. This immediately establishes this profound sense of instability, which is key to running a horror game. If the players can't trust reality, they can't trust their decisions. It's brilliant.
And that instability sets the perfect stage for the true horror here, which is internal. Like you said, the traditional goal remains to destroy the vampire Strahd, but the core conflict, according to the text, is no longer external. It is about one man literally warring with himself.
Yeah.
A profound narrative shift that D&D horror modules hadn't really tackled before, not like this.
Exactly. The central innovation is this complete split personality, which the designers bravely decided to make totally explicit. You have two halves given two very distinct names. The creature, which is the traditional monstrous vampire ancient.
Our old friend Strahd.
Right. And the alchemist, which is the good reborn version. Crucially, they both share the name Strahd von Zarovich, but they are absolutely distinct entities driven by opposite motivations. This is Strahd's psychological breakdown made literal and manifested in two different bodies.
Let's focus on the alchemist first, because this is the character we never thought we'd see. This version of Strahd is, well, he's unrecognizable from the monster we fought in I6. He describes himself as peace itself, good and just, practicing his arts for the benefit of all.
But what drove him, though, wasn't evil, it was this pursuit of perfection. He was constantly tortured by the darkness he felt within his own dark self, as he puts it.
Yeah, that inner conflict.
This is where the Jekyll and Hyde parallel becomes unavoidable, right? But with a critical D&D twist. Hubris. The alchemist cries out in his diary, "Why must we be tortured by contrast in this life, faced constantly with the choice of light and dark?" He couldn't accept imperfection.
You couldn't accept being human, basically.
Pretty much. He sought to conquer this fundamental, flawed state of existence by building a magnificent alchemical apparatus, a massive machine designed specifically to purge the evil side of his soul and achieve true, unblemished goodness.
Like cosmic laundry. Just wash the bad part out.
Exactly. And when he awoke, he was free, he was clean, he was ready to marry his beloved Lady Virginia Weathermay and finally live happily ever after. But here's the hubris. He gave absolutely no thought to where his dark soul had been sent or what consequences this profound self-mutilating act would have.
He just figured it vanished. Poof.
He believed purging the evil meant the evil simply ceased to exist. Big mistake. Huge.
That is the ultimate tragedy. The creature's tale is the traditional Strahd origin story. The hatred of his brother Sergei, Tatiana's rejection, the pact, the undeath, but now it's viewed through the lens of profound, violent jealousy towards the alchemist.
Yeah, he saw the alchemist as the version of him that got everything he wanted. Life, Tatiana now reincarnated as Virginia, and peace. Everything the creature felt was stolen from him.
And his dark magics led him to the portal created by the alchemist's apparatus. The text calls the alchemist the mirror of myself, representing true life and happiness. The creature saw his chance.
He stepped through the portal with one intention, to reclaim the life and body that were denied him by fate. Or, as he saw it, reclaim what was rightfully his.
And he found his counterpart, seized the moment, and stole the apparatus, the very tool that had created him in this split state. The apparatus is now twisted into a monstrous engine of soul theft, the ultimate tool for the creature's ongoing war against his own morality. It's poetic. In a horrifying way.
It really is. The alchemist's diary details this tragedy. When the creature emerged from the shattering crystal globe that apparently contained the darkness, the alchemist was just paralyzed by horror. He writes, "I fled from the house in terror that such horror should have existed within me, only to return."
Wow.
He's now hiding out at Heather House, Lord Weathermay's place, basically incapacitated by guilt and profound fear, unable to stop the creature until the PCs arrive.
So we have two Strahds. The creature is actively pursuing the total annihilation or repossession of his good half, but he's limited because he's unsure what killing his own good side will actually do to him. Like, will it bring him peace? Will it destabilize him entirely?
Right, that uncertainty is part of his torment, too. Meanwhile, the alchemist is effectively a genius-level NPC, a former ruler, master alchemist, who is completely incapacitated by guilt and terror. He possesses all the knowledge, but not the will or the strength to fight back.
So that dynamic sets up the entire adventure, doesn't it? The heroes have to act as the alchemist's will. They have to be his backbone.
That moral dynamic is horrific enough, but we need to talk about the mechanism that drives this entire chaotic campaign. Transpossession. This is the wicked, pulsating vein of the module, and it's what sets I10 apart mechanically from almost anything else at the time.
Transposition. Yeah, let's unpack that. It's the centerpiece of the creature's plan, right?
Yeah.
It's the physical action carried out using that stolen apparatus.
Exactly. Imagine this machine, a mammoth, 2-story tall structure housed somewhere in Gryphon Hill, powered by raw lightning strikes, literally drawing power from the storm and a huge sphere of crackling sulfur. Strahd, the creature, uses this engine to exchange souls between pure evil monsters, like ghasts, wraiths, bodaks, shadows, wights, you name it, and the innocent townspeople of Mordentshire.
Oh, man. And the effects are where the horror gets truly subtle and really creepy. You encounter the converted, an evil monster soul trapped inside a human body. They retain the monster's mental traits, their spells, instincts, immunities maybe, but they look completely deceivingly human. They just act wrong.
Yeah, the module gives fantastic descriptive cues for the DM. They might be vacant, speak in flat, emotionless tones, or engage in compulsive, useless actions, like the example given of a person endlessly cleaning the same glass without enthusiasm or comprehension.
So the friendly butcher or the town baker might now be harboring the instinctual cruelty of a ghast, but you wouldn't know it just by looking.
Exactly. This forces DMs and players to emphasize investigation and role-playing over just rolling initiative. You can't just hack and slash. You have to observe their behavior, their habits, look for those unsettling, almost uncanny valley quirks. The town isn't populated by obvious zombies. It's populated by people who are just off, and they might possess abilities that can kill your party instantly if you provoke them.
Which naturally leads to the inverse and truly devastating horror. The human trapped. This is the good, innocent human soul stuck inside a monster body.
Yeah.
They inherit the monster's physical body and its abilities, like a groaning spirit's deadly wail or a wight's energy drain, but their personality is still them, just confused, terrified, and desperate to be rescued.
If you were playing this in the original edition, this is the ultimate trolley problem in D&D because combat has permanent consequences.
Oh.
If you encounter that right, which in older editions causes permanent level drain, and you attack and kill it, you are committing murder. You haven't killed a monster. You've killed the trapped soul of poor old Mr. Luker, the madman maybe, and you've done it to save your own skin. The moral ambiguity is just devastating.
For modern 5e DMs adapting this, you have to emphasize the horror and confusion of the trapped soul, right? Make the wraith beg for rescue before it attacks. Or maybe its attacks are clumsy, unfocused because the human inside is fighting it.
Absolutely. You cannot afford to attack anything here without certainty. You have to be smart, and the key to unlocking the truth, the key to identifying the victims from the villains, lies with a phenomenal NPC, Dr. Germain Donner.
Dr. Donner. Okay, tell us about him.
He's the resident physician at Sawbridge Sanitarium, specializing in mental disorders and the early use of mesmerism, basically hypnotism. He's the skeptical, rationalist counterpoint to all the supernatural madness swirling around.
So he thinks everyone's just nuts.
Pretty much. He's content dealing with the mad, whom he calls his children, and is incredibly skeptical of the PC's tales. The module says he might even encourage them to commit themselves for a few weeks of rest if they start raving about vampires and soul swapping.
Oh, brilliant. But this guy holds the mechanical key to the entire campaign. He can hypnotize willing subjects to draw out lost memories and fears using his pendulum. This is the actual hook that determines the whole adventure structure, which the module calls the Mesmerist's pendulum.
This feature is revolutionary for a module from 1986. Seriously. It demands dynamic DM preparation, probably using index cards back then, but it gives the players direct agency. By convincing the alchemist or Lady Weathermay to undergo mesmerism, the PCs choose options from a set of prepared cards, or whatever modern equivalent you use, and those choices literally set the villain's plan, their guise, and the location of all critical items.
Okay, let's make this crystal clear for DMs listening, because this is huge. The Mesmerist's pendulum is your plot engine. It operates in 3 categories determined by the player's choice during the actual session.
Right. First, the creature's goal. The player, perhaps hypnotizing Lady Weathermay about her deepest fears, selects the creature's primary motivation from a list. Is he trying to kill his better half?
Straightforward destruction.
Or to torment the alchemist's fiancée, Lady Weathermay? pure psychological warfare.
Cruel.
Or to feast on new lands, just sating his vampiric thirst beyond Barovia.
Expansionist vampire. Okay.
Or, maybe the most existentially terrifying, to regain true life by permanently swapping bodies with the alchemist. If the player chooses regain true life, the DM knows the final conflict is basically a body-snatching high-stakes scenario.
Wow, okay. Second category.
Second, the creatures, guys. This is where the paranoia peaks. Where is the creature hiding? The choice dictates the final reveal and how you interact with NPCs throughout. Is he hiding as the creature alone, maybe lurking in the shadows of Gryphon Hill?
The obvious choice, maybe.
Or is he possessing the body of Lady Weathermay, but only after dark?
Jekyll and Hyde again.
Or the alchemist's body itself, a state known as the maelstrom soul, visible only under intense stress, or maybe with the soul searcher orb.
Possessing his good self.
Oh, that's dark.
Or Mistress Ardent, the attendant. Or maybe even the crippled, seemingly harmless Lord Weathermay.
Lord Weathermay, the quest giver.
Exactly. If the player selection dictates that Lord Weathermay is the host, imagine the paranoia. The players have been confiding in their quest giver, the person who paid the high faith for help, only to find out that the creature has been lurking in their base of operations all along. You, the players, must navigate these social interactions knowing one of your key allies is actively hosting Strahd.
That is brutal. Okay, third category. And finally, the Pendulum determines the location of critical items, the essential MacGuffins needed to stop him. Are the Rod of Rastanon, the Soul Searcher Orb, and the missing diary entries hidden in the burned church, maybe Lord Weathermay's private study, or the family mausoleum? The DM uses these player-chosen options to literally draw the map of the adventure's key points, ensuring no two campaigns play the same, and validating the player's investigative effort instantly. It's so smart.
Okay, now that we understand the split personality and the central mechanical horror of transpossession and the Mesmerist, let's ground ourselves in the setting, Mordentshire on the sea. The town vibe isn't just atmospheric, it's a dynamic, worsening situation that mirrors Strahd's psychological decay, right?
Absolutely. The text paints a picture of a community rapidly fracturing under pressure. The populace falls into roughly 3 factions that the party interacts with. You have the unknowing, who think all this strange behavior is just the spreading fever, nothing supernatural.
Denial, common response.
Then you have the fearfully silent, who know something is profoundly sinister but are too scared to act, maintaining a wall of silence. They won't talk to outsiders, maybe won't even make eye contact.
Understandable, given the circumstances.
And finally, the converted, who are increasing in number as the apparatus continues its grim work, spreading their eerie, listless behavior across the town. The longer the PCs take, the more converted there are.
And the players start at a disadvantage. They are recovering from this mysterious fever, a malady, the module calls it, that made them babble about Ravenloft and unlife. This is the subtle narrative bridge back to I6 if you're using it.
Yeah, and during this delirium, they were apparently throwing their gear about and attacking phantoms, generally causing a ruckus while out of their minds.
So the very first step of the entire adventure, Event E4, is basically a scavenger hunt for your own stuff. You have to recover your basic equipment, armor, weapons, spell components, which have been scattered around the town. The garrison, the smithy, the burned church, the mayor's house.
Which immediately forces interaction with townsfolk who may or may not be converted. You can't just dive into the dungeon. You have to run an investigative social encounter just to get your sword back. It's a great way to introduce the town state.
And while they're undertaking this essential first step, the delirium effect strikes periodically. Characters suffer sudden waves of chills and vertigo, causing a nasty Nidus 2 penalty to actions, or terrifying sensory overload visions.
Like seeing spiders crawling everywhere, or the stone griffins perched above the manor briefly animating and turning their heads to watch you. Little flashes of madness.
Yeah, just to keep you off balance. This ensures the characters are never truly comfortable or certain of what they are seeing.
The atmosphere is established violently right from the outset, too. Event E1, Night Sleep, is this terrifying introductory dream sequence that occurs early on.
A dream sequence? How does that work?
If they played I6, it's a terrifying recollection of their last moments in Castle Ravenloft, maybe fighting Strahd on the parapets. If not, they fight the vampire creature Strahd in a dark tomb, complete with summoned groaning spirits. Okay. The catch is that all damage is illusionary, but the fight is designed to be fast, frightening, and overwhelming. It establishes a healthy, immediate respect for the creature's sheer power. The player feels defeated before the game even truly starts. Sets the tone.
That's clever. And the horror is driven home socially with E3 the Madman. The PCs might encounter poor Lucre, a villager who has been captured screaming things like, "Thieves! Murderers! You've taken them all! The village is empty! Desolation, despair, we're the people, we're the children."
Ugh. Just a terrifying upfront look at the psychological damage the transpossession is doing. Not just that souls are swapped, but that sanity is actively breaking down in the community. He might even be one of the trapped souls, aware of what's happening but unable to stop screaming.
To combat this chaos, the PCs need specific non-combat tools, the MacGuffins, which are perfect goal markers for any DM adapting this to a modern 5e campaign. These tools force the investigative structure. You can't just fight your way through this.
Exactly. First, the Rod of Rastinon. This is described as a short, thin crystal rod. It's essential. It's the control key for that two-story apparatus, allowing its massive, arcane power to be redirected for good, presumably to reverse the soul swaps.
So without it, the creature can still use the machine, but the PCs can't fix things.
Pretty much. Without it, the creature can still perform transference, but the PCs can't complete the crucial reversal of the process. For a 5e campaign, this is the attunement key that must be found before the final encounter can even truly begin. Finding it is a major goal.
Okay, what else?
Then there's the Soul Searcher Orb. This is a crystal pendant, which apparently grows to 2 feet wide when you concentrate on it. It's the necessary item for identifying the horror. It allows the bearer to see the true soul in alignment.
Ah, so this is how you tell the converted from the trap.
Exactly. This is the item needed to distinguish the converted, evil monster soul and human body from the human trapped, good human soul and monster body. You absolutely need this to solve the moral dilemma of who to fight and who to save.
But there has to be a catch, right? Sounds too useful.
Oh, there's a massive high-stakes drawback, and this is truly wicked design. It's incredibly fragile. The text explicitly states it breaks forever on a natural 1 attack roll standard fumble, okay, or a natural 20 dexterity check.
Wait, on a natural 20 dexterity check, a critical success breaks it.
Yep. The very thing you want to succeed on, dodging a huge blow or leaping across a chasm, can destroy this irreplaceable item. The tension this creates is fantastic. You have to carry the orb, probably visibly use it to check people, but you cannot afford to fumble or excel too much at acrobatics while doing so.
That is exactly the kind of counterintuitive, high-stakes item design that creates authentic paranoia. You can't just protect the orb in your backpack. You have to use it constantly, but using it means risking its absolute destruction. Genius. Okay, what's the last one?
And finally, the Ring of Reversion. This is described as a simple iron band. It's the mechanical fix. It restores souls to their original bodies.
The solution. But I bet it's not simple.
Not at all. The Ring of Reversion has strict parameters. It must be worn by a cleric, specifically, and physically strike the body of the possessed person or creature. And the two bodies involved in the swap, the converted human and the trapped monster, must be within 50 miles of each other.
Okay, so finding both bodies is a time-sensitive race against Strahd's movements and whatever he's doing with the monsters.
Exactly. And the ring itself creates danger. The module specifies it projects an aura of good, which alerts any converted creature within 300 feet. This means random encounter checks are made at twice the normal rate while it's worn.
So using the solution paints a giant target on your back.
Precisely. Using these items isn't a simple win button. It escalates the peril and forces the heroes to be active agents of chaos, maybe even drawing unwanted attention in a town already spiraling into madness.
This whole setup forces the players to think like investigators and, sociologists before they ever pick up a weapon. It's a complete inversion of the standard dungeon crawl approach. It's brilliant.
So, the investigative chaos eventually drives the party out of Mordentshire proper and onto the high bluffs overlooking the sea, which are dominated by the two rival estates that act as the module's final stage, Heather House and Gryphon Hill.
The seats of the two Strahds, basically. Heather House for the alchemist, Gryphon Hill for the creature.
Kinda, yeah. And the module uses atmosphere and weather as a core narrative device here, especially with Heather House. The mood shifts dramatically between the initial scouting visit and the inevitable high-stakes investigation or return visit.
How so?
The first visit to Heather House, Lord Weathermay's estate, is deliberately, deceptively pleasant. The weather is calm. The module specifies stillness or zephyr winds, sunny. They meet the genial but crippled Lord Weathermay, the elegant Lady Virginia, and the broken, guilt-ridden alchemist Strahd.
Seems normal enough, apart from, Strahd being there.
Right, but there's a hint. If the PCs fail a save here, the text suggests they see a momentary shadowy distortion of the handsome alchemist into a black-haired dark creature, a terrifying visual hint of the Maelstrom soul may be lurking within, depending on the Mesmerist outcome.
Oh, creepy. Okay, so what about the second visit?
But the second visit, maybe when the PCs return to search for clues or items, is when the horror has truly set in. The weather worsens dramatically, tied directly to the adventure plot and maybe the creature's increasing power. Wind, drizzle, dramatic increase in lightning. The house itself reflects the decay. Shattered glass, tarnished brass, moldy food, and a sense of growing, palpable dread. The creature has consolidated his forces, perhaps, and the storm is his symphony.
So the weather isn't just flavor text, it's a literal countdown clock, almost.
Exactly. It's a mechanic. It starts calm and builds through defined stages. Zephyr, gusting wind, torrential rain until it hits the climax. Event 7J, the lightning finale.
Lightning finale sounds dramatic.
This is pure gothic motivation. The storm increases until lightning begins striking near the PCs. There's a cumulative 5-15% chance per turn, causing a debilitating 8d6 damage if it hits close enough.
Whoa, okay.
This isn't just background noise, it's a damage mechanism designed to force the heroes to seek immediate refuge inside one of the manors or associated buildings, driving them toward the climax where the apparatus is located, whether that's the mansion itself, the mausoleum, or the crypts below Gryphon Hill. It funnels the action.
And their ultimate destination, Gryphon Hill, is the exact opposite of Heather House, I assume.
Totally. It's described as a nightmare warren, filled with the creature's true minion stone golems are mentioned, and the ghost of Lady Godefroy, maybe an old victim mixed seamlessly with the transpossessed townsfolk.
So more of that awful moral dilemma.
Yeah, the challenge is immense, distinguishing the true evil monsters who must be killed from the poor townsfolk suffering a tormented and nightmare existence, who must be saved, possibly using the ring.
And I bet the creature's minions know this and use it.
Absolutely. They're actively trying to divide and conquer, using charm abilities or feigning innocence, knowing that if the heroes err, they will lose their moral compass, maybe waste charges on the ring, or even break the orb. This is the moral gauntlet the players must run in the final act.
Which brings us to the climax, the awakening, the final scene. It sounds like it has prerequisites.
It's highly conditional, emphasizing the investigative nature of the whole thing. The PCs must know the apparatus location. From the Mesmerist session or investigation, they absolutely must have the Rod of Rastanon, and, critically, they need to have successfully convinced the paralyzed, guilt-ridden alchemist to actually be present. He might need serious convincing.
Right, he's key to the whole thing, so what happens?
The transformation is intensely dramatic. The goal is to somehow force the creature, or whoever is hosting him, and the alchemist into the apparatus chambers, which are now controlled by the PCs using the Rod of Rastanon. The massive machine hums and glows, fueled by the raging storm outside. The creature's form stretches, or maybe the host convulses, and then the two distinct original forms emerge or split apart.
The separation is complete.
For a moment. Then a blinding flash of cataclysmic energy. The cataclysmic explosion shatters the chamber walls, scattering debris, dealing 2d10 damage to everyone nearby, halved on a successful save. The apparatus surges completely out of control, quasi-elemental lightnings flicker into existence, and the machine goes critical. It's tearing itself apart.
Chaos. And the creature.
The creature's next move is entirely dependent on that goal determined way back by the Mesmerist Pendulum. He either flees into the storm, trying to kill the alchemist once and for all.
Settle the score.
Or he kidnaps Lady Virginia to torment his rival.
Pure spite.
Or he laughs maniacally before diving into the storm, intending to escape Mordentshire entirely to feast on a new world. The final battle is now a high-speed chase through the maelstrom.
Regardless of the specific goal, what follows is the haunted chase. The heroes pursue the two Strahds, the creature and the alchemist, who are presumably fighting or fleeing each other through the torrential storm, guided only by the violent lightning flashes illuminating the clifftop paths.
And here's where the psychological horror maximizes one last time. A subsequent lightning flash causes the heroes to feel a prickling chill, and they suddenly find themselves facing hideous, rotting, decaying corpses of themselves blocking their path.
What? Oh, it's messed up.
It's a devastating illusionary attack, an effect of the apparatus surge designed to maximize psychological trauma right at the end. The heroes are literally fighting decaying past versions of themselves, which only adds to the sense that the very fabric of their reality, their souls, maybe even their history, are being torn apart by Strahd's ambition and the machine's chaotic energy.
So how does it officially end? How do you resolve that?
The official resolution described is tragic but redemptive in a way. The alchemist and creature, locked in their eternal struggle, plunge over a cliff into the crashing sea below. Two pieces of the same soul finally, violently at rest.
Both gone.
Both seemingly gone. The apparatus explodes in a titanic final blast, and a golden shockwave washes over Mordentshire, restoring all transpossessed souls to their proper bodies and instantly destroying all undead of 6 hit dice or less. The nightmare ends, at least for the townsfolk. They're cured.
Okay, that's an ending. A bit neat, maybe.
But the module leaves us with that great lingering doubt, which is essential for any good horror story. Lord Weathermay, now recovered perhaps, offers the PCs the deed to Gryphon Hill as a reward. A pretty terrible reward, honestly, given its history.
Yeah, thanks, but no thanks.
And as the PCs depart, they suffer one final, chilling delirium attack. They see a small girl clutching a black kitten staring at them from the side of the road, her lips curling in a faint, knowing smile, followed by a faint, mocking, deep-throated chuckle carried on the wind. Was she ever there?
Oh, come on.
It suggests that the evil is never truly purged, only momentarily suppressed. Perhaps just waiting for the next curious soul to claim the deed to Gryphon Hill and start the cycle anew. Or maybe...
Wait, I need to pause on that final image. You mentioned the Mesmerist goal, regain true life, earlier, where Strahd tries to swap bodies permanently with the alchemist.
Yes.
If that was the goal the players chose, and the creature succeeded during the chaos of the apparatus explosion, then the person who plunged into the sea might have been the good Strahd, trapped in the creature's form, perhaps.
And the evil Strahd might have succeeded. He might be possessing Lord Weathermay, or even have taken the alchemist's handsome living body permanently.
Which makes that final scene even darker, because the one offering them the reward, offering them the deed to Gryphon Hill, could be the creature they failed to defeat, now free and in a position of power.
Absolutely. What's fascinating here is that the variability means the DM doesn't have to decide which ending is canonical until the players make their choices. The moral horror is that the player's own actions, guided by the Mesmerist pendulum, might have inadvertently led to the creature's ultimate victory. The true terror wasn't just physical, it was the psychological dread that their own success in investigating could lead them to inadvertently put the monster in charge. That's chilling. #tagged outro.
Wow. That module is just packed with paranoia and plot hooks. The core idea of Strahd creating his own nemesis, his good self, and the entire mechanic of the Mesmerist pendulum are just phenomenal ways to run a horror adventure, even adapted for a modern 5e setting. That holds up.
Absolutely. The sheer amount of variability in the house on Gryphon Hill means no two campaigns could ever play the same. And the moral ambiguity of the transpossessed townspeople, forcing players to look beyond the monster stat block and question who the real victim is something DMs can easily adapt to today's storytelling focus.
Yeah, that focus on investigation over combat feels very modern, actually.
It does. For modern play, the ability to see the true alignment via the Soul Searcher orb becomes the primary investigative tool, replacing maybe perception checks with actual role-playing opportunities where you have to get close enough to use it, risking the fragile orb.
And the beauty of the Mesmerist pendulum is that it gives the players genuine, impactful agency in shaping the campaign without the DM having to railroad them. It proves that the scariest adventures aren't about solving a static puzzle or clearing a room. They're about living with the immediate, visceral consequences of your own investigation, your own choices.
Indeed. If you're listening and looking to run a mystery or gothic horror campaign today, steal these ideas. Steal the dual nature villain. Steal the fragile MacGuffin that breaks when you need it most. And definitely steal the moral horror of forcing your players to attack a powerful monster that is screaming the name of a terrified innocent trapped inside. That's gold, horror gold.
We loved exploring this absolute classic module with you. The depth of the psychological horror in I10 is just astounding for its era, 1986, and it offers so much more than a simple vampire hunt. If you have any questions or want us to explore other vintage horror modules, especially those that break the mold like this one, definitely let us know.
And remember that chilling final image we talked about? The possibility that the creature succeeded in swapping bodies. If that was the case, the evil Strahd could be the one who offers them the deed to the haunted Gryphon Hill at the end. Think about it. You just helped the villain consolidate his real estate assets after he seemingly defeated his good self.
Oh man, that's bleak.
That is something to ponder as you plan your next campaign's resolution. Sometimes the best ending is the one where the victory feels hollow, or maybe isn't a victory at all. Leaves you thinking.
Definitely leaves you thinking. Don't forget to leave your comments below. Tell us which of the Mesmerist pendulum options you think is the most terrifying goal for Strahd. Like and subscribe to the channel and share this exploration with your adventuring party. Ring that bell so you never miss another discussion. We'll catch you next time.